Welcome to Policing TV. Each week we will explore the highlights from our latest videos, diving into topics like AI, technology, drugs, and the people shaping the future of policing. On Tuesday, our roving reporter Bernard Rix was on site with Inspector Sion Hathaway of Staffordshire Police's Road Crime Team. In his second interview, he discussed his journey into policing, his passion for roads policing, and the work of the Roads Crime Team. He emphasises the importance of road safety and the diverse challenges faced in Staffordshire. We hear him tell Bernard how he feels leading the team, how diverse the county is, and recruitment potential.
Roads policing, you've touched on this, has highs and lows. There are some unpleasant, putting it mildly, aspects of road policing. There are also the very exciting elements as well. What is it like now that you lead the roads policing unit? Sorry, I've again got the exact title.
Road Crime Team.
Road Crime Team. What's it like being a member of the team, do you think, and what's it like leading that team?
Oh, it sounds a bit cheesy, but honest, it's a privilege. It really is. I come in, I look at the work the troops are doing, the arrests they're making, the preventative work, the drink and drug drivers they're arresting. You know, I honestly, passionately believe that our team is making a difference. It's making Staffordshire a dangerous place for the bad guys, but it's making a safer place for the good people. So it's a pleasure and a privilege to be part of this team.
And quite a range of roads that you and your colleagues, your team, police. Just over that hedge, for example, we have the M6. Staffordshire is also blessed with some country roads and everything in between as well. So quite a lot of different types of roads that you are policing.
And in that respect, it's such a diverse county. It's such an interesting place to work. As you say, one of the busiest stretches of motorway in the country out there. Mixed with some beautiful parts of the Peak District that get really popular with bikers in the summer, and then the sort of urban areas around Stoke-on-Trent, places like that. It's a really challenging place to work, but a really interesting place to work.
Now, as we record this, you are recruiting, Staffordshire Police is recruiting for transferees through to your team. That particular application process will have closed by the time this video is published. However, against the event that Staffordshire Police at some point in the future is again looking for transferees, what would you say to those potential transferees?
So, yeah, absolutely right. We are looking to recruit direct entry straight onto the Road Crime Team, transferees. So if you are an advanced driver, but what's even more important is if you've got that, that fire in your belly, that passion, that hunger, that desire to work hard, to arrest the baddies, to deal with people who are using the roads in such a way as to make it dangerous for the road users, then I'm more than happy to speak to people. If people want to email me, my email address, Sion, which is Sion, so Sion.Hathaway at staffordshire.police.uk. More than happy for people to reach out to me, and I'll happily have a chat with people.
Great opportunity there if you are interested in a move to Staffordshire, if you're interested in a move using your advanced driver skills to a different force. Do contact Sion.
On Monday, our roving reporter Trevor Botting was speaking to Louise Harrison, ex-BCU commander with Merseyside Police, who is now a chief fire officer. In her second interview, she discusses her transition from policing to fire service leadership and the challenges faced in her first year. Louise emphasised the need for effective welfare systems for firefighters and the increasing scrutiny the fire sector is under. Here, she offered advice for others considering a similar career transition.
I'm guessing you'd recommend the move if other people had the opportunity. So if you would recommend it, have you got any top tips if someone was considering making that transition from policing across to not just the fire service, but obviously the fire service, but other agencies at that senior level?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yes, I would highly recommend it, and you'll be aware that I think there's another female senior police officer that now's also moved over to Northamptonshire, Nikki Watson, and I've had a chance to speak to her. She absolutely loves it as well, same as me, has felt really welcomed, and people have been really receptive to somebody from a different sector coming in. So it's been really refreshing and really, really good. Yeah, I think, and I know we talked about this a little bit before, Trevor, didn't we? But I think when you've worked in a sector such as policing for so long, you probably don't recognise and reflect enough what you do know and what you can do and what you've learned and what skills you can bring over. Now, I always thought I was okay at doing the team building bit and working with partners, but actually when you do come across, I think it gives you the time to reflect on just what you have learnt from a career in another service or another sector somewhere else. And you get a chance to bring an influence and bring change and a fresh perspective. Whatever sector you're leaving and whatever sector you're going into, a fresh perspective is always a really good thing, isn't it? There's always an opportunity, going back full circle, to learn something different, to meet new people, to continue to learn and develop, and actually, share some of what you've learned on your previous journey with new people in a new organisation. So, yeah, I would highly recommend it, and it is a great sector to work in.
Well, that's a really positive note to bring this section to a close. I want to just...
On Monday, our roving reporter Ben Twomey was speaking with Meg Jones, director of the social justice and harm reduction charity Cranstoun, and Jane Bailey, former senior police officer at West Midlands Police, on the topic of diversion and naloxone. In Ben's interview, we hear first from Meg and then Jane on what diversion actually entails, with the example of the West Midlands and the challenges they faced implementing prevention and intervention.
And what does that look like in practice? How do you divert someone away from prison? It's not just saying, run along now and carry on with your day, is it? There's more to it than that.
No, and it depends on the level of intervention that you can bring in. So if we take the West Midlands as an example, we deliver the Divert programme, which is essentially for any drug possession. That person, instead of going through the kind of normal criminal justice system, is diverted to us at Cranstoun, and they get a one-to-one telephone assessment, and then they also get, if it's deemed suitable, which most people do, come onto our kind of education and harm reduction session around drugs. But also at the other end, it can be a more intensive model of diversion. So again, in the West Midlands, we have the Cranstoun Arrest Referral Service, which is in every police custody block, and that's about engaging with people who are using drugs and alcohol in a more problematic way that intersects basically with the criminal justice system. And if we can step in at that point, if we can inform the pre-sentence reports that go to the court process, then actually we've got a real opportunity to support people for what is driving that criminality, rather than just responding to the criminality itself.
And we'll pick up on that issue about problematic drug use a bit later on in this interview. But Jane, just turning to you, this is in some ways a change in the role of policing, because I know the Divert programme comes through policing roots, doesn't it, really? It comes through the police and the Police and Crime Commissioner. Do you think that this is an entirely new phenomenon, diversion, or is it something that's happened over the last 33 years of your career, and is it, we're only just talking about it in these terms now?
So I think diversion has long been of interest and been pursued through policing. Trying to divert people from entering the criminal justice system in the first place has been absolutely paramount, but it also links very closely to local policing and the strategy about problem solving, prevention and intervention. So with policing trying to get far more upstream of the causes of issues and trying to work with the relevant partner agencies that can help and assist and support to actually prevent people entering into that situation or position in the first instance. So the prevention and intervention of sort of elongated substance misuse is absolutely in the interest of communities, so policing would want to be part of that journey. And it's been incredibly helpful to have some innovative third sector partners to work with who are interested in doing and being bold in that space. and taking innovation to the people who can make a difference. Because one of the key factors, I think, in policing as well is ensuring that your Chief Constable and your Police and Crime Commissioner have synergy of thought around that innovation, and that they're willing to push and test some of those boundaries, as we did in West Midlands, and you'll remember from when we all worked together through this. But absolutely, policing, is absolutely engaged and involved in prevention and intervention.
On Tuesday, our roving reporter Bernard Rix was speaking with Chief Superintendent Paul Talbot on the role of a Chief Superintendent in modern policing. In our last clip, we hear from Chief Superintendent Paul Talbot, who emphasises the importance of teamwork, innovation and effective management. He details how they are improving their control centre, and here he discusses the diverse responsibilities that his role entails.
Okay, so I'm Chief Superintendent for what's called Ops and Contact, or Operations and Contact as a command. That command is, like you say, is quite broad in relation to its responsibility. So if I start from the top, so from a contact perspective, obviously, as we saw, the control room, the FCR, which includes a command and control. Also associated to that is the Investigation Bureau, which deals with that desktop investigations, those first point of contacts from the members of the public, those investigations that we can desktop investigate and try and identify or solve those crimes from the desktop. Also Crime Bureau, which looks at validation and closure of crimes. So validation is when we send that crime following its recording to our victims portal or victims support agencies in order that they can help and support victims. And also crime closure and making sure we've got the data quality in relation to when we close crimes and we've recorded it correctly. Then that moves into the other areas of business that I've got. So, for instance, criminal justice. Criminal justice includes our prosecution hubs. So Staffordshire is a force that has a prosecution hub. We invest heavily in a prosecution hub in order to make sure that the quality of file, the quality of answerings in relation to any Crown Prosecution Services requests are dealt with effectively and efficiently in order to progress those cases through court. Also within that function, we also have Staffordshire Safer Roads Partnership, which is it's chaired and has responsibility through the PCC, the Police and Crime Commissioner's Office, and is actually chaired by the PCC himself. But that looks at that wider road partnership around making sure we've got some collaboration in a way that we deal with those killed or seriously injured collisions and investigations. Moving then into still in that CJ umbrella, we have custody. So that's obviously two sites. We have a northern area custody facility and we have a southern facility at Watling, which obviously deals with all those people that have been arrested that need to be dealt with through the detention, through custody procedures. Also EMU, which is our evidence management unit, that is around commonly known as property. So all property items that get seized or recovered, and also our archives process. So through obviously certain governments in relation to governance around how long we keep files or data, that obviously sits within the archive section. It then moves into the more operational space.
Yes, there's more.
Yeah, there's more. So operational space, which obviously sits within around firearms and firearms training. So that around obviously making sure that we meet the national requirement around our firearms. We call it an SLA. It's the amount of number of firearms officers we have on duty in order to respond to local issues, but also those national issues if one should arise. That includes dogs, so making sure that we have what we call general purpose dogs, but also those specialist dogs as well, around those that can find cash, firearms, the different aspects and different disciplines that sit within the dogs arena. We then also go into our tactical support unit. So then that's a group of 2 shifts that we have that basically can be armed or they can be not unarmed, and they can deal with operations. We're deployed to certain different locations. They have specialist skills in relation to, for instance, around surveillance and foot surveillance of those people that might be wanted within Staffordshire. It then moves through into Road Crime Team. So we've recently had a dissolvement of Central Motorway Police Group, which was a really good, outstanding service that we used to deliver in relation to motorway policing. But we saw an opportunity within Staffordshire to enhance our road crime team through a dissolution of CMPG. So we've been able to now establish a road crime team which incorporates motorway policing and also policing of the other roads, predominantly known as traffic. That also includes collision investigation unit and also family liaison. So collision investigation unit are the ones that would investigate those crimes or incidents that happened on the roads in order to investigate the collision, to make sure we can identify if anybody's to causation of the collision, or if anybody's there needs to be prosecuted as a result of that. Staffordshire is one of the only forces as well in the country to actually have a dedicated family liaison unit. So we have dedicated family liaison officers that will support victims' families in order to make sure that they're aware of the circumstances, or at least give some form of closure in relation to what the incident may have happened and what could have been the causation of the collision. Then that moves. There is
even more.
Yeah. So then it then moves into the what we call the tactical planning unit and corporate resourcing. So to make sure that the force has got sufficient staffing in order to meet what we would call BAU, business as usual, but also planning events and making sure that we can respond to national events, similar to what we saw in the summer in relation to some of those disorders that took place up and down the country. Tactical planning unit is very much a part of that, and making sure that we've got the right resources, also making sure that people are trained as well for a public order perspective, so making sure that we've got sufficient public order trained officers across the force, making sure that their training is up to date and we can facilitate and maximise their training. That also includes taser, management of taser, and making sure that we're developing and keeping up to speed in relation to new taser devices to make sure that we're, again, efficient, cost effective in our delivery of taser. And thinking about that, that's about the end of the command. It does sound a lot when you look at it, but it's
well, it not only sounds like a lot, it is a lot.
Thank you for watching. Tune in next week.